Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 407 of Pixels and Ink, the official podcast of CG Magazine, where we take a critical eye to gaming, comics, tech, and media. I'm your host today, Chris DeHoog, and I'm joined by our editor-in-chief, Brendan Fry.
Hello there, Chris.
Dana Eileen.
Ahoy.
Jordan Biordi.
How's it going?
And Edward Gafton, whose name I almost massacred. I'm sorry.
You massacred the sentence after that.
Massacred my own.
As well. At least
podcasting.
you can't take it personally. He screwed it all up. So
That's my stutter. I'm sorry for that.
It's not
How's
just your
everybody
name.
doing? Full recovery.
Hey.
I think
when
I
I
crossed the
I-
threshold of like being tired, and now I'm just giddy.
I was giggling too. I didn't ruin the opening though. Ha! I want an award for that shiznat. I'm not gonna.
I was about to say same, but with general apathy towards the world. But no, then I'm definitely not giddy.
Are we not going to discuss that? I just said shiznat. That happened.
No,
We don't need
you-
to
you-
acknowledge it.
Yeah, you live with what you just did.
We don't need to give it
You
oxygen.
regret that.
You carry it
Huh.
with you.
Just
We were all trying to spare
for
you,
shame.
but
Well, I appreciate it. It's like good analytics. You don't swear in the first was it like 3 minutes or something of a podcast or a video or something, and it gets flagged by YouTube.
have we ever
Sure.
not done that?
I
mean-
think we've been pretty consistent.
All right.
Hey,
Well,
this person just entered space.
Fuck. No.
Oh, yeah,
well.
the weird trove or thing or whatever it is.
What?
Nice.
It's a different stream.
Nobody knows what's happening.
Yeah, we're good.
I
Talk
guess we're just
louder
in the
or into
void
your
now. I
microphone.
guess.
There's a voice. All right, that
Yeah.
got weird. Let's start
Well, it's
over.
fun.
Chris, back to you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 407.
Shut the thing down.
I cursed it all with my stutter. I apologize. Why do you make the guy with the stutter host?
'Cause you're
But
the best.
oh, well, you. I was trying to lead into a sad segue there to get our first topic going off because, yeah, I mean, I feel a bit of deja vu saying this, but Google Stadia was officially announced to be shutting down today. It'll be shut down in January of next year. I feel like we said this around the same time last year, though. Correct me if I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
Did we? I feel like we were hinting at the death of it because they were like talking.
We definitely thought
I don't
about
think they.
It's the thing we discussed.
Yeah, we definitely did. I
It's-
mean, the writing was on the wall. Let's be clear.
It's been gone for a while. This is the funeral. This is the refund
Yeah.
era. You know, this is
Yeah.
when it's like, no, it's done. At least, you know, they said they're gonna refund everyone on the Google Play Store.
That's good.
Even
Glad they're doing
hardware
that.
purchases, like even the Stadia controller, if you
Oh,
bought
that's
one from
good.
them, they're gonna refund you on it. So
But
it's
how
like,
does that work? How does the refund work? Like if you just ever bought anything ever, you get the money back? Like
that is
or
my
is it something crazy,
understanding.
right?
It's pretty substantial,
So
and they will
weird.
lose a lot of money on it. Financially, this is a bad decision,
A failure.
especially
This is
yeah.
yeah.
Especially with reports that, like, with the deals that they made with Ubisoft for like Assassin's Creed and all of those games, apparently those were like a lot of money, like tens of
Yeah.
millions for like a game. So all in all, this is a massive like loss on their part. But at least now it's over. Now it's buried. You know.
Now we can heal.
Now we can heal, and on the flip side, at least they said, hey, we're gonna offer the tech to other people and other companies to build off of that. So
That's kind of cool.
the technology behind Stadia was always the best part of it. The business model wasn't, but
It just the
tech
service
was there.
The service always felt half baked.
Yeah, and then even the features they said at launch still never really happened. Some of them, like remember when they said, oh, you can watch your YouTube video and then jump right at that moment. Not that anyone necessarily would, but that never happened in the end.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of like things like that with Stadia that kind of just like, you know, failed it.
I actually found the thing I was
Yeah.
thinking of while I was having deja vu here. There was a story I wrote back in February of last year, actually, where they had halted game development in-house. And they shifted to assisting third parties.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of and why I felt so familiar. Like I've heard all this before. This super surreal moment. So yeah, like the writing was pretty much on the wall then, but this is just the last. Like we're calling it now. Like declaration of death or time of death or whatever.
Was there any
That's where I went with that. I'm like,
was there ever any
Dark.
exclusive though that actually came out? I know there were like deals.
I don't think
made.
so. No.
Yeah, there was like
Cyberpunk was the big one. They kind of
Yeah.
really kind of pushed. So that's about it.
and then actually played really well on Stadia.
Yeah,
from what I heard.
I was able to play. I was able to play Cyberpunk when it first came out because it allowed me to jump in when everyone else was still having trouble downloading it. So I did not hate Stadia. I just don't think it was very good.
I didn't know anybody that I knew touched it. So there's that.
I did just for Cyberpunk.
Here, I'm gonna move everybody around dramatically. Oh no, I'm not. I can't move you guys. This sucks. It's the
We don't
worst
move
day
you.
ever. Ha. Well, I keep looking at you, and it wasn't me looking at you, and it was weird. It's Jordan. I can't move. Just so y'all know.
I'm
That's
unmovable.
He's
I
that
don't
stubborn.
know.
When an immovable object meets an unstoppable force, this is
Just
what
ruining
happens.
the podcast. I'm sorry, guys. Yes, I did it. Oh no, I moved it
This
back.
is-
But
Are you doing-
while you jangle us like a
moved
bunch
Jordan
of
down.
keys, I feel like we said this like the last time we talked about this, where Stadia. I feel like Stadia was always doomed to fail because the infrastructure that is required for cloud-based gaming just doesn't exist in
No, I'm
the
gonna disagree with
western
that.
part of the world.
I do not agree with that one bit. I think Xbox managed to make it work with Xbox game streaming. The problem with Stadia is the fact that Google just didn't put the money or effort into it properly.
Well,
So it's always
I
kind
think
of
they put in
yeah.
the money.
effort.
They definitely put in the money, but they didn't do it right. They
Yeah,
didn't market
that's
it
fair.
properly. They didn't really have an angle on it. They wanted to be aggressive from the get-go and have investment and try to get some big games, and they have. But at the end of the day, it wasn't like a service that many people even knew about. Like, I don't even know
Yeah.
anyone who has awareness of it, really.
I also think they overpriced the controllers. They made it really confusing on what you needed to buy. So you had the Stadia pack that included like the controller and like a Chromecast HD. Then you had the normal pack, which just gives you the controller, and then you could buy a Chromecast and it kind of worked. Or you could just use an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller. They never made it clear what you needed to run it, and they never made it easy to just jump in and try it. And as such, you also have the problem of, do you buy the game, but then you kind of only renting them, but there was also a paid service you had that made it so it doesn't have get better streaming, but you still had to buy the games on top of that. So it was very confused business model. Xbox just made more sense. You just buy Xbox, you pay for Xbox Ultimate, and you just have it.
And I
What,
think that was the
yeah.
key difference as well, right? Because with xCloud and with PlayStation Now,
Yeah.
in the case of PS3 games, you can just stream them, and it's even if it's bad experience, at least it comes included with something else.
Yeah.
So at least that's not what you do. On xCloud right now, you can just I can just get on my phone. They have touch controls updated
Mhm.
every day. I can just
Yeah.
give it a go, and I have just out of sheer curiosity, and that works fine. It's not my preferred way to play, but it's an option, and I know of it. And maybe in 10 years it will be great, but that's kind of what they're getting ready for. Stadia was never that. Stadia was never getting ready. Stadia wanted to be
They wanted to be a
ready
console.
already. Yeah, they wanted to be a console, and they wanted to be now.
But it had so few games. Some of them were like just didn't work. Like you had some games that this is just a bad game. Like a lot of the shooters on the platform just didn't work fast enough to make them competitive or playable.
I think Destiny 2 was one of the big ones they had, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. And I think people tried playing competitively with that game, and it just physically didn't work because it was just the delay was too noticeable to make it fun. And if you were playing against other people where they were, trying to shoot you, you would not last very long.
And that's kind of where that infrastructure stuff comes into that Jordan was bringing
Yeah.
up. Because if your internet connection isn't good enough, then you don't stand a chance of even approaching that level of play. And if the platform itself is also holding you back, you already have the one hurdle that you're jumping over two. I've actually been testing a lot of cloud services through PlayStation and Steam mostly.
Right.
As I've been testing some mobile controllers and stuff like that, like the Backbone one. And they're damn near seamless. It is. It's a very nice. The PlayStation edition is a very nice one.
But that's iPhone only, right?
This model is, but I can't remember at the top of my head if they have Android
They have an
versions for
Android
the
one. They
PlayStation.
also have like an Xbox version of it too.
But
Oh,
I
okay.
played the Xbox app with this, so
Oh, that's
it's
good.
kind of
Mhm.
cross compatible. But anyways, like it runs really well. Like I tested with Elden Ring, and that's not a game I'm great at, but I was doing as fine as I normally do on console with it because there's no lag. But if my internet wasn't any good, or if my PS5 was maybe in my basement where I don't have it hardwired, that's one thing I haven't tested. So like
Yeah.
when you throw that kind of connection in, you're not going to have a good time with 90% of games probably, except
Okay.
unless it's something slow.
Interesting.
But
The more
yeah,
you
I just-
know.
I guess I'm cynical because I'm still not sold on the concept of cloud-based gaming because
I mean, to be fair,
You know-
most people aren't.
yeah, it's there's no like the whole concept of ownership goes out the window. I think about games like Kingdom Hearts Cloud on the Switch and what an utter piece of shit that is. Like,
Yeah.
and that's why like every time I see there was the last direct where it's like Resident Evil cloud version, I'm like, ooh, great, I love playing this at 10 frames a second. Like,
well, then and
Yeah,
people are
fair.
like, yeah, that takes away the whole point of having the Switch and being able to take it on the go. If you
Yeah,
can't take
exactly.
that game on the go. I don't think of it as like a great main way of gaming, but in my case, I like it because I can play my PS5 like a Switch,
Right.
basically.
Mhm.
yeah,
Like I was reviewing Valkyrie Elysium this week and watching TV with wife in the process, so I just
you have your little
booted up on my phone, threw it on the backbone, and I was playing my PS5 like it was a Switch, and it was beautiful.
That's
But that's
That's
not how I want
why I
to play
really
game all the
want
time.
conceptually, yeah, conceptually it is cool.
That's why I really want like something Steam Deck-ish because
Steam
there's
Deck
a
is
lot of PC
Yeah.
games that I would love to play, but we've discussed that I'm lazy and I don't want to sit at my damn desk because I sit at my
So
desk
get
all
this.
day now.
Get one of
Yeah.
these and use the Steam, because Steam does the same thing too. Like I tested it with Steam as well,
Right.
and you can just do that without the Steam Deck and waiting for the chance to spend that much money on a Steam Deck.
hang a TV from your ceiling, lie in bed with your PlayStation.
Didn't we discuss last week? Like I used to have like a huge recliner and live my best life, but it doesn't work like that anymore.
Or alternatively, if you are comfortable with a headset on, like a VR headset on, I've been playing my Quest and like kind of watching movies in bed as I before I fall asleep. Actually, not a bad experience.
I like it. It's a good
Could see that.
system.
Mhm.
I just want to be comfy, guys. That's all I'm here for.
I mean,
Just
that's
here for the
fair.
comfy. Just here for the comfy.
Well, there's no time for comfy. We have drama to discuss in the gaming industry.
Drama?
Yes, drama.
Not in the gaming
Bomb.
industry.
Not in the gaming industry.
That seems literally impossible.
Yeah.
Actually, that's
Just
something we probably
never.
should have added to the list. Everybody's fired. Not here. You're fine. Continue.
Well,
Your story.
Yeah, that's we didn't even talk about that. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. It's time to talk about this again. But in the opposite tone that we normally talk about it, we talk a lot about have a bond, but it's not
Right,
bombing right now. It is-
Everyone loves it now.
everyone loves it now. It's the top of the Steam charts.
Yeah.
That reminds me, I'm not sure if it's high on every other platform. If it's just Steam.
It's high everywhere.
Yeah,
Just
everyone
need to
else did.
remind everybody, Cyberpunk hurt you guys. They hurt
It
you.
did.
Don't go back to them.
They
did.
definitely
They'll hurt
did.
you again.
It's like
I
they
have a
fixed it,
funny
but
cyberpunk story where like before pre-orders went live, my best friend and I
Okay.
we were like watching the countdown half an hour before. And we were like, should we do it? Should we pre-order? Should we just like
Yeah.
if we do it now, we can play it at launch when it finally comes out at midnight. And we did half hour after playing on PS4. We were both like, yeah, filing in for refunds, and I haven't
Yeah,
touched
that's
it
fair.
since.
I mean, that's
I
fair.
started it for 8 seconds. It's fine. I just can't get back into games like that because
I don't want to go back.
Yeah.
But-
I'll watch the
it's
anime.
funny because
The anime's great.
our one writer Clement was streaming it then like hours before it went live because he had the
Yeah.
review copy and he was able to stream it a few hours early. And on his computer, it looked fine. And then a
Yeah.
couple hours later, everyone else got their hands on it, and
But
the
that's
steaming
happened with
dumpster
a few
fire
games
began.
for us.
Yeah.
Like Brendan did Diablo Immortal and everything was great. And then once it went live, it was
Yeah.
just like, give us
A
all your
slightly
money.
different version. Yeah.
I thought I remember hearing like some reports that like the like review versions they gave out were like better optimized than
probably
the
were.
actual like
Yeah.
retail.
They also
makes
only
sense.
gave PC copies as well to press.
Yeah.
They didn't
Oh,
give
that's right
console
too.
version.
Yeah.
And that's the same though, if you think about like, usually when we get a game, we get like the super ultimate extra fancy
Yeah.
edition. Like yeah, they're trying to give us the best of the best. That's how that works, right?
100%.
Not always. Sometimes they give you
Not
busted
always, and
games,
then
they're
I'm
like,
annoyed
hey,
by
these
it,
games are
but-
busted. Don't talk about the bugs, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are
Also-
aware they exist. Shh. Like,
Listen,
All
we know
bugs
that whole
are
egg is
embargoed.
rotten. We know that. Don't draw attention to it.
yeah,
Please.
we
Please.
know. Shh. Don't worry. We report on the crap, people.
That is kind of a weird sensation. Yeah, when you review something like that. Recently, I looked at the newest D&D books, and I thought they were
Mhm.
great, but there was a whole racial undertone thing that I didn't pick up on,
Really?
and yeah, like some unfortunate language.
Oh,
Of a kind of thing that they're trying to move away from, and it wasn't done like in a malicious tone. It was just people caught her like, "What are you doing
You
here?" And they
shouldn't be doing that
apologized for
anymore.
it, and yeah, like they were trying to be better about it, and they went and did something that they're trying to get away from. But
that's
yeah, it's a weird stance as a critic to be like, "I loved this thing," and then people were like, "Actually, this part
you
of
were
it really
wrong.
sucks."
You should not love it.
Oh,
I did that with Lost Ark. I was like, it seems like very pay to win. And then somebody commented and was like, no, it's not. And then they told me why. And I was like, oh, I completely misunderstood how that worked. Hey, like, this is
Hey.
uncomfortable.
we are human and fallible.
Yeah, weird how that works.
Also,
Turns
just I
out.
can't read sometimes. It's fine. We're fine.
Why won't it read?
Anyway,
But
Cyberpunk.
yeah,
hurts
I mean, I kind of help feel that people might take the wrong message from this. Like,
Mhm.
hey, this game launched when it shouldn't have. Like, it was pushed to market by the board, and it should not have launched the way it did. It's fine now, but like, you can't just throw like a really good anime at it and be like,
Mhm.
everyone love us now.
Apparently, you
Like,
can, Chris. Apparently, a
But
really
you
good
can't.
anime solves
but you
everything.
can't.
Yeah,
But
that, they've got the
shouldn't.
DLC coming. People are excited for, and like I am 100% with you. Like this, like I said, they hurt you. Like
Yeah.
don't forget that. But at the same time, you have to, at some point, give
'Cause that's-
forgiveness too, right?
'cause
You have to be
that's-
like, okay, they know they screwed up, and maybe this will come out. Maybe it'll be great, and it'll be like our. Okay, they can come back, guys. They're cool again. Because I mean, we've all made mistakes, right?
But like, you have to put a little
Yeah.
asterisk on it, right? Like,
But the
Yeah.
thing I think with Cyberpunk that makes it different for me is that I still haven't heard anyone say, "Oh, play it. It's really good now." People are
Yeah.
not saying that. There's no buzz around it. There's no
It's like-
discourse. Everyone's playing it, but no one's like saying anything about it.
Well,
I've heard
I feel
a
like
little bit, but
I feel like it's like the people, a lot of the people who are playing it even like now are like kind of like that same like sect of people who were like excited and like loved it before they even knew about it. So it's like even though, because that's the thing, it's like the game has been updated substantially and it plays like from a technical perspective better than it did when it launched, but it doesn't like fundamentally fix a lot of the problems that it like CD Projekt Red was kind of out of their depth when making a game like this.
I don't think CD Projekt Red were out of the depth. I think they had the skill set to do it.
Well-
I think management didn't give them the tools or the resources to do that properly.
Well, and
they
I mean,
overpromised.
yeah, like well, what I mean by out of their depth is like just because like, you know, their biggest success in The
Mhm.
Witcher 3 was so radically different from what Cyberpunk was. So it's like they were approaching something that was so new to them in terms of like, it was a first person game. It was, you know, different like, you know, different style, different setting, different genre. Like it was just so radically different from the thing that made them super successful and the thing that they cut their teeth on with Witcher 1, 2, and 3. So like that's kind of what I mean. Like fundamentally the game like doesn't really work just because like, you know, maybe it needed a little bit more time in the oven, like you guys were saying, right? So it's like, you know, now you have an anime that kind of like makes the game look really good, and you have all these people kind of like maybe like kind of going to it and trying it or saying, look guys, it's good, but this great anime is about it, like it's good, play it.
Yeah.
But it's not like the same thing, you know, how where like you look at, you know, I've used this example 100 times in talking about Cyberpunk. You look at No Man's Sky, which kind of like structurally was terrible and actually, you know, put the time and effort in and became something really good like in time. So I don't know, it's weird, and I think Chris is on the money. It's a kind of a worry that it's like something that like is this good from a different piece of media is going to lead people to play like a mediocre to bad game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, do
it's
you,
like
do you set the bar really, really low, and then when you're just kind of okay, we're like, hey, this game's great now.
Yeah.
it's like I don't want to begrudge them for like fixing the game. It was good. Like they could have just left
Yeah,
it the steaming
sure.
pile that it was. Great. I'm glad you fixed it. What I have a problem with is the industry allowing this to continually happen. Like the shareholders keep pushing this to happen with games like No
Yeah.
Man's Sky, and this No Man's Sky is still fixing itself. They've had a lot more success, I think, that the Cyberpunk has in terms of actually fixing the game.
Yeah.
But
And public reception as well has really turned in their favor as well. Like people were
'cause
screaming playing No Man's Sky.
Because No Man's Sky definitely feels too like they've actually gone a bit past the point of fixing itself, and now they're just like constantly enhancing themselves.
Yeah.
You know.
And everything's free still.
Yeah,
Now-
and
yeah,
they're
now
not
also
charging for any
just-
of it.
yeah.
Like that's a big plus.
speaking of which, that new version comes out next week.
Which one?
Yeah,
so
and
that's
then
gonna
the
turn out-
PS5, the next gen versions came out and they were great.
Oh, I'm so.
And there's
I'm
they're releasing
really-
for PS5 like a physical copy next week alongside the Switch version, which
I'm really
Yeah.
pulling for the Switch version, man.
very curious to see how that one
I
turns out.
really hope it's good. I got my name on it to review. I really hope it's good.
Both Nier Automata and No Man's Sky coming out next week. It could be a big week, proving how much life is left
And-
in the Switch hardware.
Was it Clement was
uh,
saying that apparently it's a really good port, or was that you, Chris?
I got it, but I haven't had a chance to dig into it to really see what's
Okay.
up with it yet.
Yeah, because I can't remember who was saying now that they had heard like it's actually a really solid.
I don't think we were allowed
port on the
talking about
Switch.
it at all yet. So
Yeah, that was all hearsay. But
We
Shut up.
heard through a friend of ours.
That also has an anime coming out, by the way.
oh, does it? Oh yeah, it does.
Yeah.
oh
cover
right,
that.
yeah.
So like, you know,
So now that
and
was a game that launched well. It did well for a
Yeah.
cult title, and
so it deserves a good anime.
Yeah, that
it
one did
deserves
really well.
it. It's good. But yeah,
It's
like
like,
I just don't want
you know
people taking like these things happen. Games launch in imperfect states all the time. It's always been a thing. But it's just we need to learn from it, right? Like there was another game that I think it's the Call of Duty beta. There was reports about it causing epileptic incidents again. Again, Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
This happened with Cyberpunk. Did we learn nothing? like
No.
we need to have this like this was brought to our attention. It was a big thing. Why are developers still allowing this to happen? Like, and it's not like it's a small indie studio that doesn't have the resources. It's Call of Duty.
Yeah. Well, it's something
We've done this once or twice, guys.
Once or
We've-
twice this year.
Yeah.
we've definitely talked about this before, right? Like,
Yeah.
it kind of feels like at the end of the day, you know, the developers don't have the most say in what happens. Like, if the publishing company, like, if they want this game to go out, they say, okay, it needs to go out by this time, and whether it's ready or not, like, and then the devs are on the hook because when the game gets, you know, kind of like raked over the coals, it's all these lazy devs. They don't know how to code, they don't know how to do this, and they don't know how to do that. When like, you know, 9 times out of 10, it is that the guys who are making the games don't have a lot of power in the decision making of when the game goes out.
Well,
And that's got to be painful too. Like when you know like something you did isn't good enough to be out there yet, and somebody else is like, "Well, too bad." Like if imagine you wrote an article that like you just weren't good with yet, and they're like, "Well, too bad." Like that would haunt me for the rest of my life.
well, and
Yeah.
to jump to another
anxiety.
to jump to another example this week. That's in our notes here. Skull and Bones was delayed
Yes.
yesterday.
again,
The game is finished. It's done, but they're polishing and testing it for the next 4 months. It's now coming out in
Yeah,
March.
like it's not a short delay.
No, but like, and that's for whatever. But yeah, like just imagine the team and Ubisoft and how they're feeling right now. Like they almost met the deadline, and like now that's got to be demoralizing to have the goalpost moved on you at the last minute like that.
but it's such a
Or
strange
help them, give them
rollout.
time to fix it.
It's such a strange rollout, even with the marketing and everything they've shown so far. Like, was bad. Even at Gamescom, they had like
Yeah.
a giant booth, a giant Sea of Thieves. Sorry, not Sea of Thieves.
Did they really?
Skull and Bones booth. They did.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That'd be a
Uh-oh.
thing.
Bad pirate
That's
game.
weird.
Bad.
But like it was only a presentation. There was nothing. You can go in, watch this kind of the same kind of video that you can see online already. So it's like, what's the point? And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
they're gonna have an open beta for it. It's like, good, but you should have had this earlier. You should have really like had people hands on with the game
Yeah.
if you really wanted feedback. Now I feel like it's too late, and it's just such a strange situation. And further delaying it only makes public reception worse. Already, we don't know who was interested in this. Black Flag fans, not anymore. Certainly not. It's been far too long. People forgot
But
about
it also amps up the expectations now. okay, your game was done,
Mhm.
and we gave you an extra 4 months, so now it better be outstanding. Like, there's going to be people
Yeah.
chasing that with a fine tooth comb, and like any little errors, and be like, why you had extra time, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean that's
I-
probably on us
Well-
as a community and how we react to things. Like we need to
Yeah.
cut a little bit
You
of
might be
slack
bad.
Well,
sometimes.
yeah, absolutely. But again, it's a crazy like circular problem because it's like you have like the industry itself that like kind of like doesn't set devs up for success, and they
Mhm.
rush things out. You have games media like holding ourselves accountable who run articles about this stuff and generate hype, and how many times you read an article about like the hype is real, believe the hype, and then the game comes
Yeah.
out, it's
Almost
you
never.
have you have that secular group of fans who like pump it up on social media, and they're happy with it no matter what, and they'll tell you you're wrong.
Secular group of friends.
Yes, there's a secular group of fans.
Okay, so they're all
Wouldn't they
like,
be like the religious
They love it
followers of the
fucking
game?
Yeah.
religiously. Yeah, exactly. Dude,
But
I
that's
knew
not
people
secular.
who literally were like
that's what it was
talking
the opposite
about.
of secular. Secular means not religious at all.
Mhm.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Don't
100%.
listen. I
That's what secular
am.
means. Yeah.
It's 3-1 on this.
I never claimed to be a good
Yes, you did.
journalist
Or a good religious man.
I don't even claim to be a journalist. It's like, they let me do stuff.
Okay.
It's
Anyway,
fine.
you have this. I guess what?
The
Zealous-
devotees.
Zealous.
The
group
zealots,
of fans
not
who, like,
religious.
are like ready to pump it up, and like regardless of how it comes out, they'll tell you it's wrong, and the version I played was perfectly fine, so you're wrong, like, and then it's like people will let the company, like people will buy it regardless because they're hyped up about it, whether it's good bad or
Yeah.
not, and then like publishing companies just look at the dollars sold and say, okay, this worked, let's do it again, like, and it just all goes around.
Yeah, I think that's also again on the community. Can we, as a community, not just writers but as gamers, can we just concede that you may not encounter the same glitches that someone else does? So if someone says, "Oh, the game is doing this to me," the response isn't, as you said, that you're wrong. Like,
Yeah, you're
maybe you
wrong.
just what system
no,
did you
that
play
happened.
on? Like, because like I had a friend who played Cyberpunk on Xbox One when it came out, and like a standard Xbox One, like that one, like not even the X or anything, and liked it just fine. Like had some bugs, but had a fine experience. Like not everyone had
Yeah.
a broken game, even on some of the worst platforms. Like it is possible, oddly enough, but but
That's why, but you know what? And it's like it's weird how you do kind of see it like in the reverse, because like I kind of feel like when you look at a game like Breath of the Wild 2, for example, right? Like
Okay.
like Nintendo has been really
Tears of the
like
Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. Thank you.
I was
Yeah, I didn't
gonna.
I didn't want to just throw it out there in case nobody just like knew what I was talking about. Like I'm
You need to
that
normalize
guy who-
calling it that. Now. We
it's
have a
actually
name.
Yeah.
called Tears of the Kingdom. But like, yeah, like they, they haven't been, they've been keeping the cards pretty close to the chest on that one. But like, they kind of, with the little snippets they've been giving people, they had a pretty like reasonable release window. They announced it back in like 2021 or end of like 2020. I almost want to say like.
Okay.
Further back than
2019,
that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it 2019? It was. No, it wasn't.
I feel like it was
that far
on the
back,
radar
was it?
before COVID. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
Either way.
And yeah, and then when they same thing, like the last direct when they said, look, like it's
Announced
pretty,
2019. Yeah.
it,
E3.
it's pretty okay. Wow, I can't believe it's that far back. They came out and said like we were planning to release it like this holiday season, but we want to keep working on it and fine tuning it, so it's going to come out early next year. People really didn't get mad about that. They weren't like up in arms and freaking out and causing controversy that Zelda got delayed. Like
Well, that's the thing with this example too, is like they have showed us so little, we don't know anything about it, which leads to a frustration of a kind. But it's not also like we've had 4 delays, like Skull and Bones, where it's like, here's all this. It's
Skull and
coming.
Bones was
No,
good.
not yet. It's coming. No, not
We
yet.
saw 15 minutes of gameplay in 2018 from Skull and Bones. We saw a chunk of it we saw a lot. That game was supposed to be out 2018,
Yeah.
and then
And then they're still showing you just gameplay at Gamescom. Like,
Yeah, and it's like, ugh.
Well, okay, you know what? No, sorry, not to like be that guy, but I was right. The actual announcement, the initial announcement for Tears of the Kingdom was the E3 2021. So it wasn't that long ago that they announced it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even though they haven't shown a lot, it's like the time at which they announced it and the time at which they're getting ready to release it is like, I guess so far, you know, or so close together that, you know, a small delay just for fine tuning and making sure that the game is like up to snuff for Nintendo is like, I guess it's not going to cause that much that much harm. But like I've said before, Nintendo's usually pretty good with that stuff. They typically don't show things until they're more or less ready to get announced or ready to get released, right? Like
never more so than this game. Like never more.
Exactly, right? Like
they've never
with the rare exceptions, because like between like Metroid Prime 3, which, you know, has been a whole fiasco in itself, and like Bayonetta, which we're only like just seeing things about now, but like, you know, I feel like
not to be that guy, Jordan, but I think you actually mean Metroid Prime 4. Not to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy.
It's actually called Metroid Prime 4 Retribution.
Oh God, it's actually called Other M2.
Other M2, yeah. What's the opposite of dread? Smile.
I was thinking about this earlier, and I kind of hope that Tears of the Kingdom comes out with not seeing anything else. I would love for them to just dead drop it,
that's kind of
just dead drop it.
That's kind of what I feel like they're going to do for this one, again, because we already know it's being built off of the engine that the last one was using, and it's more or less the same world map. I'm guessing too, they probably want to keep everything, because of the nature of how you explore the world and everything. They want to keep it all very tightly wrapped, so people can just have the adventure and have fun and enjoy and discover things on their own.
Yeah,
which is a good strategy.
There'll be a big trailer at TGA, and then you'll have a Treehouse in like February, and that'll be it.
Yeah,
I'm good. Just give me the game. Just put it out. Don't show us anything
else. But that's you know, to bring it back around to what I was saying. Like that's it's something that's what needs to be normalized more in the game industry. I don't know if more companies are starting to do it now. I personally haven't really seen it. You know, it's like everyone still needs to have that big reveal, that big announcement for whatever games event is happening. But it's like, don't announce something until you're actually close to ready. Don't announce a game 5 years from release and then you release it and it's still fucking broken. Like, because
when I started here, you people were requesting games for systems that weren't even out yet. So
yeah, I want my copy of No Man's Sky for the PS6. Okay, I need to be up on that.
Seriously, that's what was happening. And then the PlayStation and the Xbox came out, and like nobody had them because nobody could get them. And I was like, you know what we're gonna do? Not that anymore. Because that was
what happened, Dana. That the moral of that story is that you tied everything together around here with a nice little bow. It was Mad Max around here before you showed up.
Anarchy.
What makes the Skull and Bones delay great is that you can still buy it on Stadia, but Stadia wouldn't be available when Skull and Bones comes out now.
Yeah, no
that's some time travel stuff
that
right
is
there.
very funny.
By the same token, just on the last note too, I think the Skull and Bones delay, it sucks. It was supposed to be out in like a month. It's not coming out till March now, but it's gonna be better when it gets there.
Yeah.
Or game delays suck.
They're gonna slowly kill it. Who knows?
Well, there's no promising all that cheap.
We'll at least have fun playing the open beta. It'll be great. You know, we'll have fun for like 2 hours. It'll be fun.
But didn't
who was reading out loud?
That might have been me. Sorry, I was whispering to myself.
just getting like ASMR like whispers.
Sorry.
What channel is this? Just EGM After Dark?
That's later.
Sorry.
But what I was gonna say, I don't know, maybe I missed it. I kind of zoned out there for a minute. But the other thing about this is sometimes you get surprise release dates, and they're good. Because isn't Scorn? Yes, Scorn doing that, right?
I mean, Scorn has been in development, and we know about it for like years now. But
it moved up. It was supposed to be released on the 21st, and they're like, "No, you can have it sooner." Gift.
Get ready for Halloween, you know.
Have
more time to prep.
In that case, because we were saying when they take more time, we give them crap for like not being perfect. If they release it early and it's crap, then Do
I
we
think
attack?
You give people crap no matter what in this
Just crap?
industry, right? Yeah, it's just like
Stay toxic,
internet.
everybody.
If it's good,
the
why
internet.
isn't it not good enough? You gave this game an 8. Oh my god, you hate it? No way.
You're the worst.
No, we have a policy. Check our policy.
Yes, we do have a policy.
We have a.
I don't
rubric.
even know
It
if
means
half our
something.
staff know we have a policy, but we have one. It exists.
Dane out here saying
uh,
the quiet part loud tonight.
I didn't know.
Well, you
until,
know,
like,
there's a
while, but that was my
CGN7
fault.
and there's an IGN7, right? Like they're very
There you go.
different.
The IGN7 is what, a CGM4?
It's more
I
like
don't
it's
get
more like a
this joke.
CGM5.
Oh, I get it now. I'm caught up. I didn't know what the numbers were for. I didn't know where we were. I was thinking like the 7 as in a group. I'm like, am I a part of the 7? I
Yeah,
wanna
you're
be
part
It's
of
like
the
included.
she's a 10, but like in the country she's a.
Oh, that's my
how that
favorite
goes.
game. I just
Yeah.
want to play that game. Can we do an entire podcast of that game? It's a
I
10,
feel like we're
bud.
gonna get Me Too'd if we do that.
But
Yeah,
let's
no,
do
that's
it with
not a-
games, so it's
Oh, with
not
games,
weird.
okay, 'cause-
Let's do it that way.
Chris
Yeah.
said in the
We'll do it in
country she's a
private, the other
10, and I was
I
like,
don't know how the thing goes. I'm not.
She's
This is
10,
old
but she
man
came
trying
up
to
4 months
do
late.
like
brain just had
internet
this-
speak.
just took a backflip there for a second.
It's like that
Chris.
that trend going around on Twitter, the slut era. She whispered as she did something really banal,
Mhm.
like that whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like we've all to parse that one. Like,
And
oh, okay, I
CGM's
get it.
canceled.
Yep.
CGM's canceled.
The lights just go
Twitter's
out.
canceled.
We're canceled.
Well,
okay,
it's
you guys
not
have
all
a girl
doom and
here.
gloom. It's fine. She said we
It's fine.
could.
She said,
Dana said we
girl,
could.
and she's queer, so you're good. We've got all our bases covered. No, we don't.
Just
There's
about.
some missing.
Just about.
Just about.
But it's not all doom and gloom in our sphere this week. Not all game cancel or game postponements and Stadia shutdowns. We also got some exciting first looks at some upcoming projects, we'll call them. First of all, being the Last of Us trailer for HBO's series, which looks really good.
It does. It has the HBO quality, and that like really like makes me hype about it. But the fact
I
that
thought
the
you were gonna
font
say
is the
makes you
same-
hot. I'm like,
No,
well,
no, like the
too
fact that
soon.
the font is the same, and like the
Yeah.
game's visual identity still like is present in the TV show, like really means a lot. The font is the same, the opening credit is the same. It like really like seems to be like a really faithful adaptation in a really good way, non like
Yeah.
a bad like it ends up being kitsch kind of way. This seems accurate and seems good, and it's almost like scene by scene taken from the game in a good way again. Really excited about it. Really good. The clickers look amazing. I mean, the one clicker we saw looks great,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
They first teased before the trailer came out that morning. They teased like the HBO like the opening, and they had
with
the
the clicker.
clickers worked into
Yeah.
it. I said nope, threw my headphones off. Nope, not this shit again.
Nope. I have never played The Last of Us, so but I'll
Ooh,
probably watch
I don't
the
think
show.
I think it'd make you.
You
groovy.
guys are all gonna
Well-
have played the game first and then watch the show, and I'm gonna do it the opposite. No, I'm
Has
not, 'cause I'm
anyone
not gonna
played
play a
part
scary
one
game.
yet? Have you guys played part one yet?
I
Oh, yeah.
have
I
not.
played it way back
I
in
have
the
a friend
day.
who's gonna lend it to me, but I have not actually tried it yet.
The PS4 that I bought like initially, it was like a bundle with like the first remaster
Okay, yes.
HD
The
version
remaster.
of Last of Us. And that's why I kind of laughed when I saw the trailer, because I was like, it looked so close to the game, but it's a show. So I'm like, how many episodes are just gonna be like Joel and what's her name just like faffing about in the city before they find like in the no-go zone before they like find Ellie, and then it's like maybe like 3 episodes of them getting to the hospital.
It's probably gonna
That's
be.
what I'm curious about too. Was like like Ed saying, like they're taking beat for beat from the game. It's like how much of it's going to be that, and how much of it's going to be original. How do they balance that being authentic to the game and
Yeah.
but not being like beholden like slavishly to it?
I don't remember how many episodes they said they're gonna do, but like I can bet I'll do a pizza bet or whatever bet that episode
pizza.
1 ends with Joel and Tess finding Ellie, and that's it. You find them, there's like credits. And that's it. That's where episode 1 ends. Because I think you have to rush into the Joel Ellie connection, because that's the core of
Kinda
the,
keep
of
it
the game.
moving.
That will be the core of the series. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think you have to do
Because-
something.
Because my worry is I look at stuff that's like really popular, like The Walking Dead, and the amount of like episodes that's spent with just like nothing, just to kind of fill time and have episodes. Like it just makes me worry that they'll like have to fill a couple episodes with just like them being in the city, having drama, or like here's a little bit of like Joel backstory when he was still like a smuggler and this like they won't, because again it's almost like it's like it feels like, you know, the game exists, so what's the point of just remaking the game as a show? It's just like, so you just here's the
Maybe we'll
game
learn a little
minus
bit
the
more about that.
interactivity.
What I'm excited for as somebody who has not played the game is the cast. Obviously,
Mhm.
everything Pedro Pascal touches is
is gold.
magical. I haven't seen him in anything I've complained about,
Woman?
which is rare for me. I complain about everything.
He did Wonder Woman. I liked him in Wonder Woman, even though that
Yeah.
whole thing was a misfire.
In what,
I liked his
sorry?
stuff.
180
Wonder
not
Woman.
Wonder Woman 80.
Wonder Woman. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see that. Anyway, but Melanie Lynskey is one of my favorite actresses. She's usually hilarious. I'm going to assume that's not where we're going. She plays someone named Kathleen. I don't know if that's someone from the game or not.
Is she the original? Because there's an
Um,
original character that they mentioned was going to be in it.
Maybe, but Melanie Lynskey's really, really good. I adore her. She's in Yellow Jackets.
She is.
I adore her. But more importantly, Bella Ramsey. I don't know if you guys remember Bella Ramsey in Game of Thrones and how
Yep.
everybody was like obsessed with her because she was this kid controlling men and it was magical, and she was damn good at it. But Brendan and I actually got to see her at TIFF up close and personal and see her in the movie Catherine Called Birdie, which is like complete opposite ends of the spectrum, but she was amazing in it. She was like, her comedic timing is great. Like she's hilarious, and
Yeah.
she adapted, like, I knew her as Game of Thrones Bella Ramsey. So to
Right.
see her in this completely different, like, coming of age, Lena Dunham comedy, like, she can do whatever she wants. She's got it.
She was she's also on another HBO show called His Dark Materials, based on those
Really?
novels. And
Really?
it's a smaller role in that, but she was quite good in that as well. And she
Like,
also
she's-
voiced there's a kid show on Netflix called Hilda, and she does the
Oh,
voice
really?
for that. It's really
What's
really
the
fun, like
other show you
fanciful.
mentioned, Chris?
His Dark Materials.
All right. I like
That's
her,
based-
and I'm just chasing her.
She's the girl from 2.5 Men. That's why I know her. I just never knew her name.
She's in 2.5 Men?
Lynskey.
No,
Yeah,
Melanie
she was.
Melanie Lynskey.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
like, was she alive?
I was in the middle of googling who her character was. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think Chris was right. She's original for the show.
She is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no,
So-
she's
I
been
hope
in a
that
lot of
goes
really
well,
good
because
stuff.
I know, like, fan people can be cranky when you change things or add things, but she is someone I really enjoy, and I don't want to see that go badly.
Apparently,
Because-
Kathleen.
The Last of Us fans getting cranky about
Yeah.
something? Unheard of.
yeah, Jordan. Yeah,
And apparently,
Okay, but my complaints are legit, okay?
Hey, levels
Okay.
blown out.
I didn't get mad at, a character having muscles or killing, the worst character in the series.
apparently, Kathleen is the ruthless leader of a revolutionary movement in Kansas, and Kansas has never been featured in the games. So,
No.
Okay.
So I
original
guess they're going
characters.
on a trip.
So expanding a bit, or speculation about potentially a Last of Us Part 3, that the series will
Mhm.
kind of like set the tone and the backstory for a Last of Us Part 3 in the future. But
I wouldn't be surprised if that
Maybe.
happens, but
Yeah, I
they
wouldn't be
call
surprised
it made a
either.
trilogy.
and then
Um,
3 seasons, 3 games.
But I was actually listening to other podcasts talking about this game, or talking about Last of Us Part 1 today, and they're saying that when I first played this game, I wasn't a parent, and now I am. So like I almost didn't want to get past the first 10 minutes of playing the Part 1 again. But then beyond that, like the gameplay improvements make it a little easier, because one of the reasons why I keep bouncing off of this game is that it's hard. Like it's hard on you. Like not just a hard game, it's hard on you to experience. Like it's not a happy-go-lucky game. It's bleak as hell in that kind of Elden Ring way, but there's more character development there to kind of hit you in the heartstrings. So like, yeah, so it's frustrating, and it's also like we know the first 10 to 15 minutes of the series is going to be devastating. Just knowing how the game starts, it's going to start off really rough. So that's one element I'm kind of curious to see how, when you take all the gameplay frustrations out and you just experience it as a story, especially like a live action story. I'm very curious how the reaction is going to be to that.
But I think The Last of Us was always kind of a cinematic game, and kind of ushered in this like new era of like cinematic PlayStation games that kind of led to like what we have now with God of War. And when you think about like Neil Druckmann's inspiration, it's very literary, I remember playing Last of Us Part 2, and I was like, yeah, this is just the Count of Monte Cristo, essentially, but in game form. And how does that complicate things? You know, the first one is just On the Road by Jack Kerouac, right? So this,
Yeah.
it will be interesting to see if like it still stands up toe to toe with some other TV shows, especially HBO TV shows, which are really good. And to see, hey, like, is the story good enough on its own without the game being good enough? Because I think the story is great for games. That's one of the best. I want to see if the story is good enough for TV shows. I think that's the real test.
Got to think about that with any video game. Okay, that's a story-driven game. God of War. Like, what if they made like a Skyrim video game? Most of the time, I'm just running, trying to climb up mountains.
Every other episode, you'd go to the same cave and kill the same bandits.
Yeah, like you gotta.
I'll answer that question
think of
with
how
a
those
quote
games
from the game.
work, and they
It's
have
like-
to fill in all that time, right?
Don't you say it, Chris.
And
No, I was gonna say never should have come here. like the guards constantly say.
Yeah.
I think
That's how I think of that.
It's a bit different because one of the frustrations people have with Last of Us is that the choices are made for you. You're not actively choosing. Do you kill the doctors at the end of Last of Us Part 1? Spoilers. You don't get to choose it because it has happened. You have to, I think you have to kill them, right?
No, you don't. Because I remember for myself, I actually didn't kill them. But again, like the second game just retcons all of that. Just makes it so he did. Like,
see, I wouldn't like
but
that.
you don't
Then
actually
isn't
have to gun them down.
I thought you did.
That would bore me.
No.
Yeah, I also remember you did, but like I think that makes sense. But canonically, still the decision's made for you, and then even in Part 2, again, spoilers, you don't get to choose if your team Ellie or team Abby. The game decides for you. At any point, there's no like choose or stop. No, there's only one outcome, and you're locked in for it, right?
Which, speaking of like stories and choosing, I saw Dragon Age news today, and it was very exciting. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'll send it to you, Chris.
Oh yeah, give me that stuff.
I mean, you can make a choice at The Last of Us 2 at the end if you just
Don't finish the game.
Just let Ellie get murdered repeatedly, and it's like, there, you got the good ending.
Okay.
Fill in the blanks yourself, yeah.
We did it! Yay!
But anyways, the other thing we also saw this week, well, we didn't actually see any concrete details on it, but we had an exciting teaser / announcement for Deadpool 3, which I think was supposed to happen at D23, but some things got in the way there. But The Impossible is happening, and Hugh Jackman's coming back for Deadpool 3. We thought he was done as Wolverine, but he's not.
Who I've talked to in person, I'm just saying.
You have.
Perfect.
You've done that.
Did he tell you about Deadpool 3?
He did. I've known for ages. I
Did
know
he whisper
everything
in
that
your ear?
happens. I'm actually in the movie.
He said, I can't bear this burden any longer. You must take it from me.
Yeah. No, that's pretty exciting. I wasn't a huge like comic book fan before like the movies started happening. That wasn't my thing. My ex-husband and I he kind of got me into that stuff, and that's how I became like a huge Marvel fan and all that. And his baby was Wolverine. Like that was his favorite thing. My son, when he was born, we had like a little knitted like newborn Wolverine cap. Like Wolverine is a good time. Logan,
Yellow suit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Logan crushed me.
Oh, yeah.
Spiritually, except for
Like The Last of
the
Us.
theater screwed it up. The theater screwed up the movie, and I've never seen a riot like that at the movies. Just so you know,
Jesus.
it was hilarious. I won't. Can I spoil Logan? Like that's I don't know.
Probably, we're probably gonna get there anyways.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
It's fair. It's been out for a long time.
They kind
Well,
of
the
spoiled
point-
it in the announcement anyway.
Yeah. That's true. The point while he's dying, the theater had the wrong cue times, and all the lights came on, and you couldn't see the screen anymore. It wasn't a midnight show, but it was like the night before a show. All the lights came on, like people were livid. Like I was just on the verge of tears, and then it ended. Like you couldn't watch. I literally, the manager was literally standing with like a sea of people swarming him. It was drama. Anyway, unrelated. So to see him come back and in a series that's doing things well is very exciting for me. I love the relationship between Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, just in general, with like even just with their liquor companies, they're just constantly battling, and I think it's hilarious. And I would see it just for that.
That's fair.
Those are my opinions. I had opinions today. Yay. We did it.
I kind of still can't believe it's real. Like I still feel like Ryan's trolling us. Like we've seen all the official news about it. I'm like, I don't know. He was so done.
I mean,
like,
they did make that joke at the end of Deadpool 2, right? So
Mhm.
this just
And
feels like
it's-
that, like the logical continuation of it.
And even the poster says, "Oh, from the studio that killed Wolverine," but this is Marvel Studios now. So it's like
Mhm.
something happened. There was an exchange here. That was like, okay, Kevin
They
Feige.
drove a dump truck full of money up
Yeah.
to Hugh Jackman's house.
That's what I'm
Which, by
wondering.
the way,
like,
I didn't know how to say
much-
Kevin Feige's name before.
Kevin Feige.
That was not how I read it. In
Yeah,
my
I used
head,
to say
just for the
Kevin
record.
Feige
Feige.
or Feige.
Yeah, I just say Feige. Apparently, that's
Kevin
not it. But I'm going to
Microfiche.
call him the
Kevin
Feige from now on.
Microfiche.
He's the Feige.
But they did confirm
What
that
did
they're
I
not going to
just hear?
touch on Logan though with Wolverine. So
Yeah, I was
Because
going to bring
Logan
that up.
happens past this.
that's
Yeah,
that's
something.
what
Yeah,
they
they
said,
like they
yeah.
even say like Logan happens in 2029, so like that just brings up more questions of how they're going to bring the X-Men into the MCU per se. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
They
weird.
already did though.
Yes and no. Like spoilers for MCU projects. Miss Marvel, right, is a mutant. Namor is
Mhm.
confirmed to be a mutant.
Mhm.
And Quicksilver, Ralph Bohner is in it. That's kind of all that we have. And Professor X but in the multiverse, right? That's
Well, and in Logan, if I'm not mistaken, is that not what am I making that up?
and Logan. What's in Logan?
Professor X.
He is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he was,
he's in
yeah.
it.
He is. Yeah, but Professor X.
He's, like,
I know
suffering
that
late
these
stages
have nothing to
dementia
do
at
with
that
each
point.
other, but like it was
No, he dies. He also dies in Logan. Yeah, Professor X.
I'm ready to watch.
everybody
Logan again.
dies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, without the lights turning on.
And that
Yeah.
is right, Progenitor. He did say, Hugh Jackman said, I remember an interview where he said he will only come back if he gets to be an Avenger,
Oh.
which leads me to believe that they're all going to be in Secret Wars. And I think Secret Wars is going to be like a reboot for the Mutant Saga. The Fox universe is
Mhm.
going to collide with the MCU continuity. And then moving on, they're going to be like, okay, now we restart, blank slate. Not for everyone, probably for the mutants. And we go, okay, the
Yeah.
Fox stuff is no more. It's still fun to catch up, watch those films because it's Disney catalog now. But welcome to the new stuff, changing of the guard, which is gonna be fun.
Is Hugh
Yeah,
Jackman
it's
not
just-
like
it's really curious.
maybe like old for
Yeah, that's
Wolverine?
also it. But
Well, that's why he was getting out of it because the physical training was just getting to be like what he
It's
was
just too
doing to
much.
his
Too
body
much.
to be in that role was too much.
when was
Yeah.
X-Men 1? Was that 2000?
Probably.
2000, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
2001
which
was
is
the latest.
which is
That's
which is a
crazy.
long
I was
time
grade
ago, right?
6.
Yeah.
No,
It's a while ago.
That's it.
I was 4.
I don't even know what like the original. No. Okay, let's not talk about that. Yeah, it was 2000. Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
And the
Fuck.
script was written by Solid Snake himself, David Hayter.
It was.
I'm so sad.
Fun fact.
You guys ruined
Um,
my night. Sign me up. Shit.
I'm just checking this like the release schedule here because they only have so many movies to kind of set up the mutants in the Marvel universe, right? Like,
Fantastic Four is before Deadpool because Deadpool is 2024 and that's September. I wanna say I think, and they have that's the year when they have Fantastic Four and some other 3 films probably, but I don't remember them.
yeah, because Captain America is May 2024. Then it's Thunderbolts. Then there's
Oh, yeah.
Deadpool 3 is after Thunderbolts. Yeah, so
Yeah.
in September.
Yeah,
What is
It's not a lot to set up a huge branch of the universe, right? Like, there's
Mhm.
no big tentpole movie there. Like, where are they gonna do it?
but they
In
kind of
Coven of
probably.
Chaos?
Yeah, they kind of probably won't anyway. I don't think they'll set it up. I think they'll do like, they're colliding with the MCU. They're not gonna be like they're gonna be still like from a different universe. I think it's gonna be some
Mhm.
shenanigans happening, right?
I mean,
Unless
you
it's
have to have
done
some-
through the animated cartoon, because that season will air before.
Yes, it will.
Could they
X-Men
find a way
98, yeah.
to? Could they find a way to
Probably.
bring it in that way?
But like that will still be a soft entry, and I think most people won't watch it because it's still animated. That was the problem with What If. Like you can connect it to the main continuity, but in reality, let's be honest, not everyone's gonna watch it. Not everyone that goes to watch Doctor Strange in Multiverse of Madness will also have watched What If to understand. Oh, there's a different Strange in What If that went bad as well. And so I don't think people will watch X-Men 98 and be like, "Oh my god, now I know everything about the mutants. I'm ready to
Yeah.
go
And-
into it."
That being said, too, I also didn't expect Miss Marvel to get into that territory either, but it did it.
It did.
So, I
Yeah.
mean,
But-
they could do anything at this point.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the point of
I'm still behind.
Captain America.
And that's
And I
the problem.
think-
All these shows and stuff now, like I need to get my life together if I'm gonna watch any of these. I still haven't seen Shang-Chi. I haven't seen
Shang-Chi's
the
good.
Eternals. I haven't seen like any of the Marvel shows. I don't think the recent ones.
I want you to watch
Yeah.
She-Hulk and tell me what you think because I'm
Yeah.
loving it.
I should because I really love her, but I just
She's
like I don't
amazing.
want.
Oh my god, she's
I
like the
don't
best
wanna
part of the
know.
show.
Have you watched
Mm.
Orphan Black?
No, I haven't yet, but I'm going to
need
because
to.
of this show. Yeah.
You need to. You need
But I
to.
should just
It's
finish
an
the
amazing
Orville,
show.
so we might get into that next. But
Do it.
I mean,
What-
That's a
even
different
even
story.
She-Hulk, there's like rumors about her being a mutant because there's the thing in the first episode of like, oh, how is she getting her powers from Bruce? Is it just a genetic mutation that they have in their family? But like, what do we mean
Isn't
by
just, like,
mutation now?
By the end of all these shows, aren't everyone just Skrulls? Isn't that just
That's
everyone's a Skrull?
Secret Invasion. Yeah, we'll see.
They're all
we'll see that.
Skrulls.
We'll see about
and
that
less.
next year. But yeah, no, I'm just curious. I just want to see them together on screen. That's just gonna be
That's
so
fair.
good. We've never had that. I'm not counting X-Men Origins because that wasn't a good version of Deadpool. Like Ryan Reynolds has done so much for the character since then to make it part of him.
Yeah.
Again,
If
the
so-
ex-husband who's super into like Wolverine and Marvel and all that. That was a very angry evening.
That's fair.
Everybody was mad.
That's fair. That's fair.
If the Hulk doesn't throw Wolverine at some point, this will all have been for nothing. That's it.
It's
We
it.
have
It's
to
the
have
end.
it, you know.
They
We need
have
to get the
give us what
Ruffalo
we want.
Buffalo into that movie for like 30 seconds just to.
Yeah.
30
Actually,
seconds,
that's a
just
cameo. They
to
could do
fight for a
that.
bit.
Yeah,
They could
throw
totally do that.
Wolverine in. Yeah, have She-Hulk throw him. It doesn't matter which Hulk. Just have
Just
a Hulk throw Wolverine, and then
Someone
we'll be
has
fine.
to throw him.
But if we're talking about Marvel, sorry, I'm going to move this along because we're dwelling.
I was about to, but do the honors.
Yeah, no, you go. But
No,
sometimes-
you got it.
sometimes we go too long.
You got
Wakanda Forever got its runtime.
That's
And
right.
Yeah.
it is the longest non-Avengers Marvel movie at, I believe it's 2 hours and 41 minutes.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's
film.
no joke.
it. No, actually, maybe that's where some X-Men stuff's gonna come because he's a his name is a
Because
mutant.
Neymar is a mutant, yeah.
Yeah.
But
That movie has so much to do, though. I'm kind of not surprised.
oh,
by the
that movie
runtime.
might suck. I'm so worried about it. It's the
Wakanda
one
Forever?
Marvel. Yeah, the trailer was fire. The trailer was great, but
Yeah.
like with Letitia Wright, with Chadwick Boseman passing away, with like everything that's happened, it's like they have a lot to prove, and ugh, we'll see.
I'm like, I went and watched Black Panther again after the trailer came out,
Mhm.
and I kind of was hoping that Lupita Nyong'o's character would play or would become the Black Panther instead. But
I still kind of feel we're gonna have multiple Black Panthers because Winston Duke's character was like kind of being like, oh, I
Like
could be
it's
Black
going
Panther.
to be a team effort.
So I think it's gonna be
We are the
Shuri, Winston Duke's character, and Lupita's character. So I think them three are kind of gonna be Black Panthers in some way. But I think people analyzed the trailer and they were like, oh no, this is definitely Shuri and the suit at the end.
Like
there
I
have
have
been
to say,
Lego sets leaked that suggest it.
Okay.
But
dun, dun,
that-
drama. I have to say, like, I don't usually pull the woman card, but like even just talking about it and thinking about the trailer, like this is going to be a very, very powerful movie for women.
Mhm.
Probably definitely women of color, especially, but I can't relate
Yeah, I
in
was
that
just about
department
to say.
clearly.
Mhm.
But like even just like those three women are badass, and I can't wait to watch them kick ass. And I hope that it doesn't end up. I think it. No, in one of Endgame, there was like very much.
Yeah, the
Miss
moment.
Castro
Yeah.
was calling me clear,
Yeah,
by the
the-
way, because I am translucent.
The
But,
girl power moment.
Yeah, but it was a really cheesy one. Like it was very forced and very like
Yeah.
girls kick ass, and I hate that, and I
Woo.
don't want it to be like that. I just want it to be a movie where these people happen to be women. That would be cool.
Yeah.
Not like, hey look, that one right there.
Mhm.
Like that
I
one.
like that better in the theater and not so much on repeat
Mhm.
viewings.
Yeah.
That was I was just excited to see Captain Marvel at the front of all of that. That's a different story.
It would also be interesting to see if Wakanda Forever will be the movement that it was, that Black Panther 1 was, because that was a movement. People rallied for that film. There were like news stories
Mhm.
written all about like how big of an event it was, and it was nominated for an Oscar, right? So like
Yeah.
Wakanda Forever kind of has a lot to prove in this regard
But I
as
think
well.
it's going to, because I did a story. I can't even remember what the hell it's about now. It was something about it was something I saw on TikTok, I guess, for Wakanda Forever. When you're doing a movie, there's a call sheet, and there's like number one, they're the first person to get their hair and makeup done. They're the first person to be like carted to where they need to be, blah blah blah. And then 2, 3, 4, whatever. And I guess they saved the number one spot for Chadwick Boseman. he was always number one, even though he's gone. And it goosebumps and tears and all that stuff. And I wrote like a quick news story about it, and I was like, emotional. And that was probably the biggest social media story for us. Like our social media is not like crazy, but it was like in the thousands, right? Yeah. Thank you for joining me there. Yeah. So like people are hyped for it for sure.
Yeah, and like and again, having just rewatched it too, like it did such great things. Like it wasn't the most groundbreaking comic book movie or MCU movie, but just the way they did the character, the way they did the culture. Like I remember people being really impressed when the movie came out that he listened so well to the female people in his life, like to those voices in his life, his counsel. Like those were his closest counselors with the women in his life. People thought that was a great, subtle thing to throw into a movie like this. Ryan Coogler's still behind it, so yeah. So like he listens to his sister and his mother and Lupita Nyong'o,
never
and
even really grasped
he's
that.
surrounded by that.
I think it's one of the few movies that pass the MCU movies that passes the Bechdel test as well.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, probably, yeah. But Ryan Coogler's still behind it, and they undoubtedly feel the burden of trying to do right by Chadwick through this movie. So, yeah, I feel you, Ed. I'm a little concerned, but I trust Ryan Coogler on this one. I just don't. Okay. Yeah, I don't know about some of it. We'll see, I guess.
How do we?
It's got a lot of heavy lifting to do.
Though? Like that was.
I think it's way too long.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The first one was 2 hours and like 15 minutes, so
pop
an extra half an hour on it.
They've got to do it right. Like I've been in movies that are 3 hours long that I've been on the edge of my seat the whole time. I've also been in movies that are 3 hours long that I thought should have ended after like an hour and 15.
Yeah.
Like I can't even name some, but I know like I can't remember a specific movie, but I remember like 4 different times thinking, "Oh, okay, this is the end." Oh, it's not.
The Batman was that for me.
Yeah,
the Batman was that for me, where it was like I feel like this had to end.
Yeah, and that's where it's going to be if they turn it into, just a lot of here's a bunch of action for no reason, here's a bunch of girl power for no reason, here's like just I really hope they don't do that.
And that was the thing, like about the first one, right? Like because it's like like the first one, 2 hours is not a short, it's not a jaunt, you know what I mean? So like, but like, when you watching, because I've watched Black Panther a few times now, I would say it's probably like one of my top 3 of the Marvel movies, and like it moves at such a consistent pace that like it never feels dull. Like between the action, the drama, like it never stops, so you don't feel the time at all. And I feel like with this one, like it because of like the scope of it, and what it needs to do. I think like as a movie that's like kind of like passing the torch, not just like in a film sense, but also like just like logistically, like kind of taking the legacy that Chadwick Boseman left as T'Challa and sort of like giving it to the next like group of players who are going to like keep this thing going. Like it needs to have a certain degree of reverence. It needs to have a certain degree of like commentary, even. It has to have something to say, and then like, but also like it needs to still be like fun and have a bit of brevity and keep things moving along, so so you actually like enjoy the ride, like
right.
So and that's not it either. Like they're also doing Atlantis, like they're doing
and they're introducing
like, that's not a small thing.
The Submariners coming in
and he's a mutant, and what does that mean? And
so I feel like 2 hours and what 2 hours and 41 minutes is like the official runtime of it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's again like, but I'm not one of those guys who really gets like snippy about runtimes. Like a movie can be as long as it needs to be. And
like I had no qualms sitting through all the Lord of the Rings like movies in the theaters. We'll watch the extended version any day.
But I'll agree
Justice
with Dana.
League.
Yeah, I'll agree with Dana.
Justice League, though, I was like, nope.
Endgame, I felt the time on that one. Like that
No, I
felt like a
didn't.
9-hour movie.
I
don't
didn't
think I
know.
did with
I don't
Endgame.
know.
Endgame went fast. Endgame was a fast
No.
film, especially
Infinity
in the
War
theaters.
went fast. Endgame was a slog to get through.
Endgame was long. Infinity War definitely felt better, but
the
Endgame
longest victory
was
lap
long.
in history.
But also, I was not like I was fine. I was there for it. And I was sitting like front row, like I was in like the uncomfortable seats because it
Oh,
was so
God.
cramped. And I
Yeah.
was fine. Like bring it on.
But a
But,
lot more Marvel projects still, even before Wakanda Forever. We have Werewolf by Midnight. That will be a thing. So it will be
yeah,
interesting.
that's gonna be the first thing I pass on in the MCU.
Oh, okay.
I didn't
But-
know it was MCU. until very
They did
God,
Morbius so
Morbius.
well. I mean, how they going to mess up
Morbius-
werewolves?
No
MCU didn't do Morbius.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's fair.
I knew you were
But
gonna point
Morbius
that out.
basically was maybe.
I'm kind of over like the solo movies.
That's fair.
Like
just
I
want
want
team-ups
I
from
just
now
want to
on?
see
Like
everybody
the,
just
the
team
Han
up.
Solo film.
Just everybody team up.
Hey.
Just-
Yeah, the one.
Don't be mean to Solo. That was a good movie.
I hated Solo.
No, everyone
That's
everyone
okay.
be mean to Solo because everyone was mean to Last Jedi.
How about we just don't be mean?
No.
Sometimes I just have to, Chris. Like
What if there are
you
different?
get
like,
my DMs. Sometimes I just need to be mean for a minute.
Yeah.
But it's like
why I can always
someone
count on
compared
Dana.
Star Wars to a restaurant, and it also works for other things. But like when you go into the menu, not everything on there is for you. You don't order that. Then just don't order it.
Like with
Don't
Skull
order
and
the steak
Bones.
if you don't like steak. Don't order the lobster if you don't like lobster. Like
I'm
have
so
to, like,
hungry. Shut
you-
up.
you don't have to like
Yeah.
throw things at the chef because you don't like lobster personally. It happens to be on the menu. You tried
It's
it
just-
once, you didn't
it's
like
more-
it. Don't
it's
order
more-
it again.
Chris,
I think
this
it's more-
friggin' analogy. I'm hungry. Shut up.
Sorry.
I think it's more for me. It's like everyone, the supposed like the supposed like fans of the restaurant, like got the filet mignon and said this isn't good enough and took a big shit on it. But then when they were given like the greasy burger that they apparently wanted, nobody went out to get it. So like,
They're the child that throws the food on the floor anyways, no matter what it is.
Alright.
Do we want to do our last thing, or are we?
I don't know. Mr. Fry is the boss man. Are we going into one more? Or are we done?
What's the last?
well,
one?
you set a
He doesn't
certain
know.
time limit, hard stop,
did.
and we're
I mean,
rapidly
it's
approaching it.
FIFA. I'm okay talking about FIFA if you want to kind of wrap up.
It's
with
not
that.
just FIFA. He reads like the first sentence of everything. Spoiler alert, we have a list of things to talk about. We're not just like on our feet.
Hey, this
Don't
just
tell
in.
them how the
Podcasts have
sausage gets
plans.
made.
Normally, most podcasts.
I'm
have
okay,
don't
but
wanna
if you want
talk-
to make it quick, if you want to make a quick segment, I'm okay with that.
That's adorable. That he thinks it's gonna be quick. Go ahead. Introduce.
So, Ed got his hands on FIFA 23, and you can give us some impressions. What did you think?
Yeah, so I played about 10 hours of it. I reviewed FIFA 22 last year and I swore off playing the FIFA games. That was the last time. And now they got me back in. Every year they do it. In fairness, though, I only did the trial. I only did the year play early access thing, so it's fine. AFC Richmond is in the game. Ted Lasso's in the game, which I love. I love the series, so that makes it easier. But it's still fundamentally the same kind of game. I think it's going to be interesting because it's the last game with a license. And I don't feel like they use it well or especially well. They got the women's team, the club teams, at least in England. And so that's a plus for representation. They also got women refereeing, like men's games, which never happened, and women being lines, men or lines people for the first time ever. So there are a few like minor additions. The physics are better. The hypermotion. We're on Hypermotion 2, which is them capturing a real-time game of two different squads. That's fine. Minor adjustments like the power shot, like FIFA Ultimate Team things, but quintessentially, it's still vastly the same game, and that's really disappointing. FIFA hasn't really updated itself since like 19, and even then, it's still been year by year. But I feel like they're really allowed to be complacent, because there's no Konami anymore to kind of even do anything with PS, because that became something else. eFootball is not competitive, and football manager is just a different kind of game. I kind of wish next year with EA Sports FC that FIFA had, a really good game designer that really, had a competing game, but they probably won't for another year. or another few years, and even
Okay.
then, it probably won't be good.
If you play sports games, I do not.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And I guess it kind of goes into games like Call of Duty too. But
Mhm.
how do we differ them? Like it's the sport.
Right.
Sport. I know
Right.
MLB added like the stadium designer, and I know there's like
Mhm.
your career mode where you can just become a better player. But to me, like to have one every year, like I feel like those games should be like every 4 or 5, like some of the games that I play,
Right.
because it's the
Right.
same damn game.
That's kind of what I want to happen to FIFA as well. Konami's doing that with eFootball, where like they released a game called eFootball, and they're gonna be like, "Oh, we update this like yearly or like every half year. We're like this, and it's fine." FIFA is in the position where it sells buckets and it sells so well that there's no reason to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And until it stops being profitable, like with Call of Duty, why even bother? Why not launch a different game every year? Because it's still profitable. And I think the problem here is competition. There's nothing else. Football is a sport loved by so many people, especially in Europe, but also in Canada, because you guys have a lot of like Canadian teams as well. There's no alternative. If you're a fan of the sport, there's no real alternative to FIFA, and that is the actual problem here. If you like shooters, if you like FPSs, you can play anything else other than COD. You don't have to go back to playing COD. You go back to COD because you like that type of experience, but you don't have to. If you like football and you like to play a football game, except for like Football Manager and FIFA, there's no options. And these two games are very different. So I think that this is kind of like a problem here. But I don't know. And it's also disheartening to see them kind of do only the cash cow mode, which is the ultimate team, like in like in Madden. It's kind of just a disappointing release. I read some of the reviews. Everyone's like really like up on it, which I think is also kind of disappointing from my perspective, because it's like, yeah, it looks good if you've never played any FIFA game before. If you've played them in the last 5 years, it's the same.
And I mean, I guess there's new people joining things like that all the
Yeah,
time.
and
right?
there's always new
Isn't it
people
cool?
reviewing
And-
FIFA, and they're like, "Oh, this is impressive," and I bet it is if you've just joined the landscape now. But I've been playing FIFA for like my entire life, essentially. I'm the person who gets the platinums in FIFA. I have the platinum in the last 4 or 5 FIFAs, and even the trophy list is the same. Even what you do is the same. Even the game modes are exactly the same. They have you go through the same paces, and I'm kind of done with it.
What's
And it
the
kind of sounds like
point?
every other sport's kind of doing the same thing
Yeah.
too, like the Maddens and the
Well,
NBA
like I
2Ks.
said, like
and-
MLB brought in the stadium designer, and I guess that was pretty cool. But then even that's gone 2 years in a row. So
Mhm.
Okay.
yeah, the MLB
same
was kind of the
for
one
FIFA.
thing that was still pushing things. It seemed. Again, I don't play sports games, but
I feel like it's gonna be the next one is gonna be like, now you're also the seamstresses that design. I was gonna say costumes. God damn it.
I think
your baseball costume.
I kind of want to make the argument for like why people buy yearly games. I think it's because it's the only game they buy. I have friends who have consoles or like have a PC. The only game that they actually play on it is FIFA or Madden or MLB The Show or NBA. I have friends who like they just buy the FIFA that comes out that year and that's it.
There is a definite demographic for that, I would say. People who they buy a modest system and they buy that every year, and that's the only thing they play.
Well, why
Or-
don't we just like set up a system? If one every year comes out, that's fine, but we'll all work on a rotation. I'll get every 3rd year, you get every 4th year. Like, I don't understand. My brain hurts.
I get and again to kind of pitch as an outsider some like ways they can improve it. Like I don't see why they don't just do like, okay, here's 2022, we're dropping new FIFA. Next year, you'll get like we'll push out an update. It'll cost half as much as the game. You don't have to buy a new game, but here's all the roster updates, and maybe we fix the thing here too. While we're working on the 2024 installment, which will be a bigger, genuine improvement.
Mhm.
But like you say,
I
I
am
mean,
gonna
then again,
pitch.
if it's selling, then why fix what's not broken? I guess
We need
even if it
all
is
the major
wobbling.
league teams to create like real life sports. Instead of Wii Sports, we have NBA, NHL, MLB, FIFA all in one game, and you can just play whatever one
Oh,
you
that would
want.
be
And
know
it's
what? And you call it sports. And that's
Sports.
it.
The sports.
Sport.
called
Not even
Sports Ball
sports,
2022.
just sport.
Sports
Sports
ball.
ball. Yeah. Okay, sports ball.
At first, I thought you were pitching like a real life Nintendo Switch sports league.
Mhm,
and
me
that,
too,
that
yeah.
was intriguing.
I I got
Then
the nerds
again-
excited. Sorry.
we are dancing around the real reason why FIFA 23 might be valuable. Ted Lasso's in it.
Ted Lasso's in it, and
Yeah.
that's fun. You can get his badge in FIFA Ultimate Team. You can play with the game and the game mode and career mode. You can have the Ted Lasso avatar, and it's cute, and it's good that it's happening. It's a great collaboration, but the novelty kind of wears off. Yeah.
That being said, I've never touched a FIFA game. I do not like football personally, but I was so like I'm almost tempted to play FIFA because I could play as AFC Richmond.
Chris,
and
come
like,
on. I'm
I
so
think
sad
it would be
for you
so
right now.
satisfying to take them
I usually
and like,
have your
take them to the
back.
top of the league
I am-
or whatever.
I am sad for you right now.
Have you watched Ted Lasso?
No.
No.
I love Ted Lasso.
Fair.
And let me unsell you on FIFA if you love Ted Lasso. FIFA has none of the joy and the empathy and the humanity that Ted Lasso has, and it's the exact like shill of
Just
that.
his
If
damn
you-
face.
Yeah, no.
If-
I'm
if
I'm
you
being a
let-
little
yeah.
facetious, as tempting as it is to try. I'm not shelling out $90 for this
Because
game.
I
That's
think
ridiculous.
if you love Ted Lasso, you'll find none of that love in FIFA. FIFA is the exact opposite of Ted Lasso.
I'll wait till
It
the
ain't
sales
that hard.
collapse for the game and it goes on sale for like $20, like 6
will-
months from now.
It will go on like by next like March or April. PS Plus will give away FIFA 23 because then
Mhm.
we're all getting ready for
Oh,
FIFA
there you go.
24 anyway. So like, don't buy it, just wait for it. But the reason why people buy it early is because you want to get ahead in Ultimate Team. That's why it matters. You want to get the
Makes sense,
packs, you
yeah.
want to get the players.
That's the other thing too with the sports games is they're pushing everybody towards these ultimate league or whatever they're called in each individual game. Where the money
And-
comes in, like the
it's-
game that it
it's
used to
horrible.
be is the sideshow now. Like
And it's horrible because single player doesn't matter. There's no upgrades. Career mode has no upgrades to speak of, except for like transfer negotiation cutscenes, which is fine. It's whatever. But even with how they're selling FIFA 23, you have an Ultimate Edition version of the game which costs like £90. Not sure how much that is in Canadian, but that is more than 100 Canadian dollars. And the major perk and the major reason why people are buying that is because it gives you early access to the game, which means it's kind of like a Disney like fast pass to the game. That's why people
that's
buy
about
it.
137 Canadian dollars. By the
Yeah,
way.
that is a lot of money, and
Yeah,
people
that's
pay that
ridiculous.
just to get ahead of the game. Imagine if
We'll
Street
We'll talk
Fighter
about game
6
prices another day.
Yeah.
That's also insane.
Well,
Imagine
that's
if-
another thing.
Imagine if Street Fighter 6 released like 7 days earlier if you bought whatever edition, and then all the pro fighters will have to get it.
Lots
Yeah.
of games are
Well-
doing that, and games that like you need to level up more to do that are doing that too. Like
Mhm.
games that you need to get to max level.
Like
Is
Overwatch.
what I say.
But
That's fair.
to kind
Well,
of
even
end on a
World of
positive
Warcraft.
note, yeah, that too.
Mhm.
Yeah, to end on a kind of a positive note, I'm glad to hear that the representation is kind of going into the
Yeah.
game a little bit, like you're saying, because
Yeah.
with the NBA and so NBA at least has like WNBA editions of the game with different box art for WNBA players. There was a whole trailer for the game just featuring the WNBA. I'm not sure. Again, I'm an outsider as well. I'm not sure how far it gets into the actual game, but I'm glad to see that there is some effort to go beyond that.
hmm
Face service. Like it's not just a promotional stunt on the cover of the game.
And it's good. They actually push it, and they keep their promise. In pro clubs, you can make your own player, and then it doesn't
That's
even
good.
matter if the
Cool.
men play together with the women. It doesn't even matter because in pro clubs there's an idea of like, who cares? They're just people anyway. Obviously, when you play against like in the women's league or in the men's league, then it matters. You can pin those two teams together. But when you play online in pro clubs, you can create a player that's a woman or a man and play it together. It doesn't matter. And that I like about it. It's like good.
Because again, to come back to Ted Lasso, it'd be funny or not funny, but like it'd be saying something if you could put a fictional team of players from a different league up against those players, but not women, because that'd be saying something without saying something, and we have
Right.
enough of that. Anyways, I think that's going to do it for us this week. If you'd like to read more on these topics and more, you can find full coverage at cgmagonline.com. Be sure to follow CG Magazine on all the socials. Just search for CG Mag, you'll find us. And if you have any questions or comments, you can send them to podcast@cgmagonline.com. Ed, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Eduard Gafton. That is EDUARD_GAFTON. and everywhere else on the internet. I still have Gamescom articles coming out. I still had Gamescom articles for a while. It's fun. It's been a fun month.
Cool.
You're gonna be doing
Fun.
Gamescom for the rest of
Yeah.
your life.
I am.
Until next
Gamescom
Gamescom.
46.
Until next
And you'll be
Gamescom.
like still Gamescom 22. You can find me at the Dana Eileen. My name is on the screen. If you're watching a podcast, go watch the video to find my name. There you go.
It wasn't your turn.
I don't. Was there a turn?
Yes.
Yes.
Jordan.
Frick. I'm never doing it right.
It's okay, Dana. You know, ladies first. I'm nothing if I'm not a gentleman.
It's working from the bottom up. I'm so confused.
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok sometimes at NinjaXJordan, and you can find me on YouTube at Ninja Jordan Reviews.
Brendan.
That's you, Brendan.
Okay.
See?
BFry26 on literally all the socials.
And you can find me on Twitter at Hugathy or here on Twitch at Guild2Taps. For all of us here at CG Magazine, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
That's Brendan who needs to hit the goodbye button.